I'm Keenan Fry, and this is the Acid Drip. And right now, I'm sitting with Jessie, who's the founder of Neologian Art Gallery in Redwood City, California. And we're just going to talk a little bit about how he got the gallery started and a little bit about his background in the arts community. And so, Jessie, why don't you tell us where you're from?
I was born in Santa Monica, California, raised in Menlo Park, and that's pretty much the gist of where I've been from. I'm a California boy, through and through.
You were raised by your mom, I think you said?
Yes, mom.
Cool. And so, you had a seemingly rough upbringing. I think you've mentioned that before. You want to fill us in a little bit on that?
It's sure, yeah. Needless to say, my father was not the best of fathers, which is the reason why, I went from Santa Monica to Menlo Park. Mom uprooted me and her both, moved in with grandma, and yeah, that was kind of a rough point in my childhood. It was custody battle, everything like that. That lasted for about 10 years till my dad eventually messed up enough that he got himself incarcerated. Yeah, it's life. But otherwise than that, it's just been my mom and I doing everything. Her supporting me, trying to get me into as much things as she possibly could to help improve what kind of person I would be as an adult. So I can't complain.
Sounds like you had a really strong mom then.
Oh yes. Sometimes to my detriment, sometimes to my benefit.
All right. That's good though. That means you have someone who's got your back and cheering you on. Mm-hmm. Obviously you run the gallery, so there was a whole process for you to save up that money, figure out what you were going to do with it, what direction you were going. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that whole process, that time in your life? Pretty
much what led up to the gallery itself?
Yeah.
To be blatantly honest, what led up to the gallery was I had my run-in with the law and was incarcerated. Thankfully, it was a little bit later in my life, but I was still young enough. I got sent to the California Youth Authority. I had an AA at that point in time, so I got a job as a teacher assistant, helping the rest of the inmates get their GEDs, their equivalencies, high school diplomas. My boss, the teacher, actual teacher of the class, I found out he was a retired photographer because I was giving a lecture for the class, and I looked over in mid-lecture and saw him dinking around on his computer with some photos, and by what I could tell at the time, it's is that Photoshop or some editing software program? I talked to him, and then I convinced him to actually teach me the trade. He picked me up as an apprentice, so the whole time I was there, he taught me how to do photography. So when I actually got out, I pursued it on my own. I became essentially a freelance photographer, started doing my own artwork, showing art all over the San Francisco Bay Area with Project New Groove and a couple other affairs. I eventually got to the point of going around doing the circuit for a couple years, realizing there wasn't really a place for all mediums of art. And it's there was plenty of places for fine art, traditional art, but none of the edgy, progressive stuff that actually going to lead to the next evolutionary step of art. So I I'm going to build it. So I got a job at Trader Joe's, hunkered down for about 4 or 5 years working at Trader Joe's, saved every penny I got, and opened up Neologian Art Gallery in 2014.
So it was kind of like this vision you had in the back of your head, and you're I want to work towards this. And you went through a phase where you were incarcerated. You got out of there, but you had someone who was a mentor to you, and so it seems like you have somewhat of a fortunate story, because a lot of people that come out of those situations, they don't have any skills to get employed, and they have a record, and it's very hard for them to find anything.
That's really the story of when it comes down to most people that get out of the prisons, the institutions, get paroled. They're behind the 8 ball all the way. It's they have, if they're lucky, they have a couple of trades they might have picked up, whatever the case may be, but they have that record that counterbalances it the other direction. It turns into a real struggle just for them to try to turn over a new leaf
and re-enter
society.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of them, like, they get frustrated and just give up and go back to the way they used to do things, because that's what they know.
And that's really disappointing. You know, our system needs to change to do more for those people. But you've also done some outreach on your own for the community. I know that you've worked with some homeless shelters, raising money for them,
Yep.
and it's like your way of also giving back to the community. So you've kind of like created this art gallery so that people who are creating edgy art have a place to display it, and you're creating a place of community, and then you're also giving back in other ways to the community by supporting those other charities.
Well, it's like our communities is really just about our neighbors, our friends, family, and for anything good to come from it, it takes all of us chipping in one way or another. And it's like, and I'll admit, as someone that has a record, it's like I took enough from the community, and I'm trying to actually give a little something back. So, yeah, getting involved with like Life Moves, formerly Envision Shelter Network, trying to generate some more public awareness about the homeless situation, especially in regards to like 50% of the people that are homeless are actually people under the age of 18. They're actually children. I don't want to see that in my community. And not so much as like I don't want to see it, but it's like I don't want to foster a community that doesn't help out its community, its members when they're in dire straits like that.
So then, why don't you tell us about like what your goals are with the gallery, what it's been like since 2014, and you know where you're going with it.
Well, since 2014, it has been a lot done. It's like from the 2,000 square foot warehouse, drafty warehouse that we started in. Oh man, that place was bad. Oh, like previous tenant was growing hydroponic weed in it, so like all the insulation was black molded. I had to take all that out. It was like, oh, it was bad. But we made it work. We had some great events there, but it wasn't a place to stay. It wasn't a place to stay, so we moved to Redwood City, and via that relocation.
Real quick, where was that first place at, that first warehouse?
First warehouse was in San Mateo.
Okay, so you've always been in this area. Okay, so now you've gone to Redwood City. Continue.
You know, gone to Redwood City. In Redwood City, we literally like completely just launched forward in regards to things. Our figure modeling guild was actually on its third, fourth year, running strong. Got a couple good clients in the local college community where we're providing figure models for.
Why don't you explain that so for people who might not know what you mean by figure modeling?
Figure modeling. We provide human references for artists and art students to learn how to capture the human figure, or actually refine and develop their talents of capturing the human figure via physical media, being pencils, charcoal, paint, etc.
So this is like anatomical drawing, like classical Renaissance style drawing. It's not like in any way like pornographic or inappropriate. It's actually like a cultural tradition that goes back to like the Italian Renaissance in the late 14 and 1500s. It's a very old tradition for drawing. All the original medical textbooks that we've ever had, those diagrams and drawings all come from artists who are documenting the human body. And what this guy does is he provides that reference. So it's actually like a very outstanding profession, and it requires someone with an outstanding reputation to uphold that standard, because it's very easy for it to be misrepresented in the public.
Very much so, especially considering like 90% of it is nude modeling.
Right.
But as Da Vinci put it, it's like true artist is a student of life and nature.
Right.
You need to have that actual reference to be able to recreate it, otherwise you're not going to be able to go anywhere with it.
Right, and so you're empowering the community in another way right there by providing that service.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like, because you're providing this as a guild, you run it and you regulate it in an honest and transparent way, so you're also offering work for other people as well.
Exactly.
In many ways, you're trying to like re-enrich the community and support the local art scene. What are some goals for Neologian in the next few months?
Neologian Art Gallery is actually going to be we're going to be expanding things a little bit more. We've expanded the artists that we show at the gallery actually up to as far north as Sacramento and as far south as Hollister.
Wow, so you're really like spreading your influence.
Spreading our influence, we have actually a full pickup and drop off system for our gallery member artists. So we'll send somebody from the crew to go out and pick up their artwork, bring it to the gallery for showing. When showing is done, we'll actually take it back, have a full rack system set up for that, as well as we got our lovely RV, the F-16.
That thing you gotta see. We'll get a shot of that.
The F-16, yeah. That is our mobile command station for when we're doing fairs and other festivals.
Oh, that thing's epic.
Oh, it's great. I love it. Essentially, it's a gallery on wheels. We get that thing going, we could take it anywhere and just literally do a pop-up gallery. The thing I love the most about the F-16 or the pop-up gallery when it comes down to it, it allows us to do kind of a sharing of culture with other communities throughout the state. Bring artwork from Redwood City down to Hollister and show them what we've been doing over there, and bring Hollister artwork over to Redwood City, and it's like, honestly, it's an awesome like little tennis match that goes back and forth. Via us doing this, there's actually a couple projects that I can't completely disclose. They're being collaborated between artists that are just miles apart, and they're shooting things back and forth via us. It's like, okay, I finished this part of the canvas, can you take it down here, and now you have it for the next week. It's just phenomenal.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about your company and what you do in your gallery, or?
To go back to what you were asking, like what we're going to be doing in the next couple months, we do have one thing that we're setting up currently right now. We're going to set up a live action rendition of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Isn't that a game?
It is a game, and we're going to do essentially a live action version of it, so essentially a haunted house for people within the community to come and try to play, like see if they can survive 5 minutes at Freddy's. The models are going to dress up as the characters, and we're going to do the whole thing like live action style, even the security cameras and everything. I'm looking forward to it. Like
it's so off the wall. Oh man, okay, but you know what? That's cool that you're coming up with entertaining things. I know you guys do regular scheduled events. You do drink and draws and different gatherings.
Drop-in figure drawing workshops that occur 3 times a week, Monday and Thursday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then we have our early bird Wednesday that is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have our drink and draws that are monthly, which is essentially just a giant artist collaboration social event. So come on down, get some drawing on. We have usually some figure drawing going on, as well as some type of collaborative artist project to do, be it one of our art puzzles, or like this weekend we're going to actually have a Sharpie attack. So one of the models are volunteering to be a living canvas.
You just draw all over.
Draw all over, and we're going to see what kind of piece of artwork we get for at the end of it, after like 6 artists have been drawing on her all night.
That's like a living art installation, performance art, kind of like
demo
mashup.
all in one.
Yeah, that's cool.
We believe strongly in doing combos like that.
And just doing off the wall stuff. Yeah, but that's the place where you find things like that in the community. That's cool, man, that you offer that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to take a moment to look at the gallery, and you'll see some of the studio space there. And I really appreciate you guys, listening in. Thanks, Jessie, for joining me, man.
Thank you, man.
All right, this was the Acid Drip. That's Jessie from Neologian Gallery, and thanks for watching.